This weekend I visited the National Snow Show at the Birmingham NEC on Saturday and Sunday, and I always enjoy catching up with friends from the industry, learning what's new and what the latest news is. And I ended up speaking to so many people, I thought this deserved an episode of its own. Some of the people I chatted to talked about the show specifically, others about the thoughts for the season. But let's start off with Chemmy Alcott, one of the main hosts for the show, who I caught up with at the main stage on the morning of the first day. Right, I'm here with Chemmy Alcott. Today you are hosting the main stage here at the National Snow Show in Birmingham. How's it going so far?
Really good. I mean, that was our first sold out seat gig, so really good. I mean, you start with someone like Katie Ormerod, you're going to be inspired. I think we've got a really good mix of incredible speakers, Q&As, interactive sessions. Obviously, you're coming up. I'm really excited for that. Live.
Yeah,
we'll be doing one of your pod lives. I mean, loads of stuff can go wrong, Ian. Are you ready for that?
No, I don't think anything will go wrong at all.
But
We're perfectly
that's
prepared.
That's what makes it go right, you know, when it's really...
What about the rest of the show? Have you had a look around? What do you think?
I mean, I think there's more retailers than ever, but everyone's understanding that it's not so much about selling things here. It's about giving people experience, and that's what I noticed this morning. I was skateboarding around before anyone arrived. Every stand has got something to do, whereas, it used to be kind of a fact-finding mission. You'd get paperwork, you'd go home and you'd read it. Now, right, go to the stands, do something, learn about it, and then, you'll absorb more from the show.
Yeah, and I think that, evidently there's quite a lot of people here. I think you were on just outside the door, keeping everyone entertained before they came in, because there's a big queue of people this morning.
Yeah, I was amazed by that last year that we had a big queue, and we had the same queue this year. I mean, people are that excited that they will give up their Saturday morning sleep, which we all know is very precious, and wake up and queue to get in. And it just shows the vibe, it shows the enthusiasm. I think it says that the winter sports in the UK, it's back. We are back, and, get involved, get passionate about it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And in fact, I believe there may be an announcement later on that there's going to be a second London ski show next year. Do you have any inside info on that?
I do, but I think you should wait for the announcement.
Yeah, no worries. Great to speak to Chemmy.
You too. Good luck later.
Well, more news of that announcement later on in this episode, when we'll be finding out about that possible new London show. But next, let's come to Al Morgan, our equipment expert on the Ski Podcast, who I bumped into on the Sunday. I'm here with Al Morgan, equipment expert. Always good to catch up with. How much you bumped into each other? Right, what do you think? What's your initial impression of how it looks here?
Well, I mean, it was a bit quiet this morning on the Sunday, but actually walking around the show feels way busier than earlier. It's fantastic. People seem to be really excited, getting on the slope, just trying out new products. People, trying on ski outfits and helmets and goggles, it's no bad thing.
And you've probably seen most of the kit here already, right? There's no kind of new things for you to discover.
I haven't come across anything new yet.
That's because you're ahead of the game. One of the reasons for that is you're often out at the SIGB ski test, get to see the product early. I understand that test is actually changing location this year, because it's been out in Kutai for a while previously.
Yes, it's been in Kutai for quite a number of seasons. We did have a little bit in Pila in Italy, but going to La Clusaz in France, which we've not been to for the SIGB ski test before. So SIGB is the UK's trade organisation for skiing, particularly looking at hardware and clothing and all this kind of thing. And it's just really exciting to go to a new location, new opportunity, really. Yeah, great. And I know you've talked to us before on the podcast about how that works, but hopefully we'll be able to catch up just after that and find out your impressions about the new skis, etc. And listener, you might know that we're currently trying to plan a ski beat special. We're going to get Al on board to give us some real inside information on that. But enjoy the rest of your time at the show, and I'm sure you'll be on the podcast again soon. Looking forward to it.
Walking around the different stands, I saw lots of people that I know. I noticed Jared from Ski Olympic and had a chat with him. Here with Jared Osborne from Ski Olympic. You've been at the stand today. You've been pretty busy, I'm thinking.
Yeah, really busy. Really good day. Lots of people.
Yeah, and you were saying to me that, with Ski Olympic, you've been in business a long time, right? How many years is it?
33 years.
Right, and your father ran the business for you to go.
Days,
so you get a lot of clients coming back year after year, but one of the great things about being here is, I guess you meet some of them, but new clients as well?
Yeah, lots of new clients. That's what we're here for. There's lots of people that haven't heard of Ski Olympic, so it's great to spread the word again.
As well as tour operators and retailers, there was one business which I found really, really interesting, something I'd never come across before. They're called Random Rental, and I spoke to Will about that. I'm here with Will from Random Rental at the National Snow Show, and this really caught my attention. You've got a fantastic gondola here. She's been converted. It's got a table in the middle made out of a snowboard. And apparently you can buy these or rent them, is that right?
You can buy these, rent them, they can go to parties, corporate events. We have some stuff going for visual merchandising. So really, anything people want, we will be able to do.
Excellent, and this one here I can see came from Courchevel. I was trying to see if I recognised it as to what lift it was from, but not that old. And then over here as well, you've got some chairlifts, small dated two-person chairlifts. Where are they from?
These are from somewhere in Austria. I can't remember the name of the resort, but refurbished these by doing bent the steel legs to go at the bottom. We've had them re-powder coated or powder coated instead of galvanised, and then we've replaced the wooden slats on top. And again, these can go to parties. People have had these at weddings. These have been, John Lewis had one last year for the whole season, so it's been a bit mental.
If you wanted to, you could buy one though and put it into your garden for your garden bench, right?
Indeed you could.
Excellent. And how many of those chairlifts have you got?
Initially we bought 56.
So how do you get 56 chairlifts from Austria to the UK?
It was a lot of transport. It was a lot of long days, to be honest with you. A lot of long days. But we got it, and we got them here, and they've been going well. And we've only got 4 left now to sell. So
really, that's amazing. And will you kind of specialise in upcycling furniture? Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's how you graduated onto this.
So I started upcycling all sorts of lighting, furniture. We've done bits of aircraft, loads of stuff in the motor industry as well, like barbecues, all sorts of really crazy stuff. I suppose this came more from a passion for the sport, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I love skiing, so skiing was just made sense that I took my job into my interest.
Yeah. So key question then. If I wanted to buy myself one of those chairlifts, one of your 4 that you've got left, how much would it cost me?
We sell those at $250.
Okay, and a gondola?
A gondola. At the moment, I'm not sure on the price of it because I haven't been able to get any more yet. So if I start selling them, I won't be able to rent them.
Excellent, well that's brilliant. Thanks very much, Will. So that's your Christmas present list sorted. I also met up with Luke Rees. You might recognise his voice as he was on our snowboarding special episode that came out recently. I'm here with Luke Rees from AWE 365. I just wondered what you're looking for at the show today.
Well, I'm just interested to look around, meet the brands and the different destinations and tour operators, and there's a lot of them here, basically.
And what do you think about the show? It's a bit bigger than last year, isn't it?
It is, it's certainly grown, and it seems quite busy, and there is a lot to get around. I'd probably recommend anyone comes out here.
Yeah, I've lost track of time. I think it's about 1 o'clock and we're here on Saturday, and it looks very full. People in all of the aisles at the moment, lots of dodging around, which is pretty positive, I think, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's great for the companies that are here, because obviously they need to generate revenue to come again, but I can't imagine that anyone would not have success in this environment. It's really good.
I also caught up with Megan Hughes, another journalist from the industry. I'm here with Megan Hughes from National Geographic Traveller. You've come up from London because you wanted to check out the ski show. I think you've had a good walk around. What have you thought so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic. It's very, very busy. It's bigger than last year, so obviously something's going well. And I think everyone's just very excited to have a proper winter this year. I feel like the interest is definitely there. Everyone seems very happy, everyone seems very engaged. There's a lot of people buying stuff. I actually saw a guy walking out with a pair of skis as I was on my way in.
Hopefully he bought it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's a very positive atmosphere. I feel like everyone really thinks that this year is going to be a great season.
Cool, and have you seen anything that takes your eye that you've got on your shopping list?
Oh, that is the question. I mean, every time I see the new line skis for next year, I just can't take my eyes off them. They're so pretty, especially the women's ones.
Cool.
I'm such a sucker for a top sheet.
I also bumped into Doug Newman from Ski Weekend, who come all the way from Exeter to make sure he was at the show. I'm here with Doug Newman from Ski Weekend. Really interested to catch up with you. I just wondered why you've come to the show today.
Yeah, nice to see you, Iain. Well, we're here today to meet some clients who have come in from all parts of the country, and also to meet some journalists here today who would like to discuss our anniversary offer. We're 35 years in business this season.
And what do you think of the show itself?
It's great. Great to absorb a bit of the atmosphere. Good to see all the industry come together in one building, and lots of different events on and talks that you can get involved in.
There were plenty of Olympians at the show as well. I spoke to Graham Bell about the forthcoming season on Ski Sunday. Yeah, I'm here with Graham Bell. Nice to see you again, Graham.
Good to see you.
I hear that you don't have your Skier's Edge training machine here because you've sold them all already, is that right?
Well, no, we had a bit of a supply issue, so we hadn't had machines for like the last year. We got 5 machines flown over, and there were so many customers waiting to buy that we sold those 5 very quickly. We've got more machines coming over in a sea shipment.
And listener, if you don't know about the Skier's Edge, effectively you're standing on a machine with your ski boots on and skiing from side to side.
It's more of a ski training machine, like a fitness training machine, than it is a ski simulator. The idea is that you work the muscles that you use when you're skiing, you build up that muscle memory, and then you take that to the slopes, and it's really, really good for anaerobic training. So what I'm doing at the show now is Perfect Turns, which is a ski coaching app. And of course I've married the two in together, so you can sign up for a Skier's Edge based program on the Perfect Turns app. So if you've got a Skier's Edge and you need a program to then train to get fit for the winter, and you can sign up Perfect Turns and then marry it together with the Skier's Edge.
Yeah, and we chatted about that before. What I'll do is I'll put a link into the show notes to the episode when we talked about that. Now, you're going to be on Ski Sunday again this winter. I think you're doing a mixture of commentary and features. Are there going to be any specific races you're commentating on that we should look out for?
Well, our series starts in Adelboden, Dave Riding racing in the slalom there, but we've also got Billy Major and Laurie Taylor will be racing in that race. Then we go to Wengen for the classic downhills, Wengen, Kitzbühel, and then Schladming night slalom. Then there's the race in Chamonix. There's a slalom in Chamonix just before the World Championships. And then the 2 weekends of the World Championships. First weekend is speed, women's downhill, men's downhill. Second weekend is the slaloms, women's slalom, men's slalom. Yeah, it's going to be a 7-week run, and Ski Sunday will be big.
I hope you're taking notes there, listener. I think Graham just did the whole World Cup calendar in one go.
Well, not the whole World Cup calendar. Ski Sunday, we cherry-picked 7 weeks. Yeah, I know the World Cup calendar goes a lot longer than that. It starts in Solden in a week's time.
Yeah, and you mentioned the World Championships. They're going to be in Courchevel and Meribel, and I'm hoping we might be able to get to chat about that in more detail in due course. But coming up in a couple of weeks, we've got a downhill race in Zermatt, which is a new one. They look a little light on snow. What are you thinking about that race?
Well, the glaciers have recovered from the summer. The summer was really tough on the glaciers. It was like a massive heat wave across Europe, and it was probably the worst conditions that we've had in living memory on the glaciers. But they've had like a metre or so of new snow already up at that altitude, 3,500 metres. The start will be in Switzerland, the finish will be in Italy. The Italian side will be man-made snow. I have no doubts that they will be able to make that snow to get down the Italian side to the finish, heading towards Cervinia. My only worry is that in late October, beginning of November, because the men's race the last weekend in October, the women first weekend in November, my only worry is that I've been to Zermatt on the glacier that time of year, and to get 2 weekends without any high wind or snow is very unusual. So fingers crossed they'll get both races, but even if they get one, it will be amazing. It'll be the first downhill that goes across a national border.
That was great to chat with Graham and Chemmy Alcott, both multiple Olympians. I also had the opportunity at the National Snow Show to speak with Mia Brooks, an up-and-coming snowboarder who is only 15 years old and will be competing on the World Cup circuit this winter, as well as doing her GCSEs. I'm here at the National Snow Show with Mia Brooks. Real pleasure to meet you, Mia. I've been following your career. We were just chatting earlier and discovered... How old are you?
I'm 15.
15. You're actually 3 weeks younger than my kids, and it would be amazing when I tell them that you've been competing in slopestyle and big air all over the world. Currently, because of your age, you've been competing at a junior level, but you've done Europa Cup, right?
Yeah, Europa Cup. So it's like World Cup level almost, but just in the Europa Cup circuit, and it's a nice way just to introduce yourself to doing them bigger comps, and you also get points from it which allow you to compete in World Cups.
Yeah, and those FIS points are really important, but what's really good is you've been picking up quite a lot of them because you had a few podiums along the way, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've been podiuming at lots of the European Cups and Junior World Champs I won, which meant that I get a World Cup position of my own. So not only did I have enough FIS points to probably get that World Cup spot, but I also won my own World Cup spot, which was really big.
Would you say that's your biggest achievement so far then?
Yeah, definitely Junior World Champs was like the biggest achievement of my career so far. So.
And I noticed, you've been busy this summer as well. I think you were maybe out in Australia?
Yeah, out in Australia for 5 weeks, I think it was. So like the whole duration of the summer holidays. But yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
And when you say summer holidays, does that mean you've got schooling as well still going on?
Yeah, schooling still going on. Like, just managed to find the right balance between school and snowboarding, because before it was a little bit like uneven, like the school won't really let me have time off, but now it's all sorted and we've got it perfect. So,
okay, where did you base yourself in Australia?
In Australia we were in Perisher, Jindabyne. It was really nice because there was Perisher and Thredbo, which were like right next to each other, so it was really handy.
Yeah, and were you, I know historically you spent a lot of time in your Alps in a motorhome, was it that style this time round?
I think, when we were in Australia we just had like our own hotel and like apartment, but for the past few years we've been basing ourselves in motorhomes and just around Europe really, so
Right, I mean that in itself is quite a challenge. I've spent a bit of time in motorhomes, travelling around Europe and Australia and New Zealand as well, but never really in the winter. I mean, does it get pretty cold in there? You plug in and keep warm?
I mean, it does get cold, but we have like gas heating and like electric blankets to keep yourself warm, so it's good.
And how did you end up coming into the Team GB Snow Sports setup? How did that come about?
Like, really, it was all down to my parents just taking me snowboarding and like just getting me to love it really, with no like pressure in you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. They were just like, go have fun, and just like obviously like push on and improve while you go, but just have fun. And that's how it sort of led me to the GB team, as they picked up on it and were like, right, okay, I think we've got something to work with because you just love the sport so much.
Yeah, and right now we're sitting at the National Snow Show by the Greystone skateboarding ramp, and you were on there just now with Billy Morgan. Is it quite nice to hang out with people like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've known Billy for a few years now, and it's like nice to just hang out with like past like Olympians and like even new and upcoming Olympians, that it's just nice to have that whole crew and have people to go like just have fun with really.
Cool, excellent. Well, if you are my kids' age, that must mean you're in GCSE years. That'd be quite a challenge, taking on snowboarding in the World Cup and your GCSEs at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult year, but I'm just looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully it'll all piece together.
Yeah, well, your record so far has been tremendous, and I wish you all the best, and have a great winter as well.
Yes, thank you.
I really enjoyed chatting with Mia. I can tell you, probably no surprise to you, that she's an excellent skateboarder as well. She was up and down that ramp alone with Billy Morgan. Also around the show, there was a strong sustainability theme. I actually did a presentation about electric vehicles in ski resorts and driving out to the Alps. But I also spoke to Husky.com. I'm here with Sally Warren from Husky at the National Snow Show. And I'm delighted to tell you, Sally, that I've just sold my first couple of items through Husky.
Yeah, we're really pleased for you, Iain. You're one of our many customers.
Maybe listeners don't know, they probably will know, but do you just want to explain what it is, what we're talking about?
So Husky.com is a peer-to-peer website to buy and sell second-hand ski wear. So that's your jackets, salopettes, your base layers, etc. And there are some skis and snow boots on there as well.
Yeah, I've known about Husky for quite a while, and then I kind of thought, I've got all these bloody jackets, and ski pants, sitting in cupboards. It's pointless actually having them sitting there, much better to get them back into that circular economy. Someone else can be wearing them. And so I put them on for, what I consider to be relatively nominal prices, because it's still better if I get some money than them just sitting in a cupboard. And cool, they sold. Someone else will be wearing them this winter.
That's really good to hear. What we found in the last couple of days with the snow show is people have got attics full of snow clothes, snow gear. And they said, right, we're actually going to pull them out, we're going to do something. We can see how we can make a difference now on the environment.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me is, I may have mentioned this before on the podcast, but, my daughter and her peers, all of her friends from school, they love going to kilo sales or car boot sales or buy stuff off Vinted or Depop or whatever. And for them, it's almost more of a kind of badge of honour to be wearing vintage pre-loved clothing than it is to buy new stuff.
Totally agree. And you can get some things that are really different as well, so they're not run-of-the-mill. I think that's really important, to feel more individual and affordable, and just makes it a bit cool.
Yeah, and everything in fashion goes round and round, doesn't it? I think you mentioned to me somewhere else about how students love to get those old neon onesies from back in the day. So if people have got those in their attic, they should fish them out, right?
Absolutely. And the gold ones. Someone came yesterday and said, I've got a gold one and I'm going to put it on there.
I reckon that'll go just like that. If it's sitting in your loft, my advice, have a look at Husky.com and put it on there.
Thank you.
And elsewhere in the show, I was fascinated by a machine that EcoSki had brought along that can help you clean your clothing in a more sustainable way. Right, I'm here at the National Snow Show with Tony Burns from EcoSki, and you've got a very fascinating machine behind you there. It says ozone sanitising deodorising. I wondered if you could just explain, well, what it does and why you're here.
So, ozone gas fundamentally does two things. It kills germs and it removes odour. And it does it in a very environmentally friendly way. Ozone occurs naturally in the stratosphere, very, very far up in the atmosphere. So if we can generate ozone gas at sea level in a sealed container, that ozone gas then would be great for sanitising rental clothing, pre-loved clothing, second-hand, and really supports sustainable alternatives to the linear business model of retail.
Yeah, and I guess it makes a lot of sense as well with waterproofed items like ski jackets and things like that. You know, you would never stick that in your washing machine at home, would you?
Absolutely. If you stick items in which are waterproof, you can degrade them over time. Not only does the waterproofing come off, but also the mechanical action in a washing machine and the heat starts to degrade the fibres over time. So if you can ensure that the items are 100% fully sanitised to a medical grade standard, then it really supports the longevity of that item. And also, if you have chosen to rent by pre-loved, then you know that that item is absolutely free from germs.
Yeah, and another factor, I guess, as well, is that you're not using any water, which is obviously environmentally advantageous as well.
Yeah, well, we're all part of the fashion industry when you think of textiles. So the fashion industry traditionally has had quite a detrimental impact on the environment. So it's very important that when you're facilitating circular business models like clothing rental and clothing repair, you do them in a sustainable way. So you make sure that you're saving water, you're saving energy, you're reducing the amount of chemicals you use, and you're extending the life cycle of these garments.
Now that machine there doesn't look like it's particularly portable, so if someone wanted to take advantage of the service, they would go to the EcoSki website. They can book it through there, can they?
Yeah, so the EcoSki website will allow them to rent items that have been sanitised, allow them to buy pre-loved items which have been sanitised in this chamber as well. But also EcoSki offer a repair service and an MOT, so you can send the items in and you can get your items cleaned, repaired as part of the process. You extend the life cycle of them, and that's exactly the ethos that EcoSki are working on.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's really good, Tony. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I'll have to have a look through my cupboard and work out what I can send down to you. Thanks again.
Super, thanks.
So hopefully that's given you an impression, listener, of what the National Snow Show at the Birmingham NEC was like. I'd certainly consider it to be a success, and I think the organisers consider it to be a success as well, because they did make an announcement that Chemmy alluded to earlier on in this episode, and that is that next year in 2023 they are going to put on a London show as well. So I interviewed the MD of Raccoon Events and the organiser of the National Snow Show, Stephen Morgan, to find out more. Right, I'm here with Stephen Morgan, who is the organiser, MD of Raccoon Events, who organised the National Snow Show here at the NEC. It was a very good day yesterday, really busy, and at the end of the day there were some exhibitor drinks. Very kind of you to get us all a drink. But Steve, you stood up and gave us some very exciting news, and I wondered if you could tell listeners, what's going on next year.
Definitely. Hi, Iain, and yeah, we're absolutely stoked and amped up to announce the fact that we will be launching next year the National Snow Week. This will be a whole week of snow-focused events which aims to galvanise the whole industry, having smaller satellite consumer events all across the UK, trade events, and bookended by the National Snow Show in Birmingham and finishing with the Snow Show in London.
Right, okay, so that's very exciting. I'm a big believer in a rising tide floats all boats. Great for consumers and for businesses alike within the industry. So we're here in Birmingham at the moment in the middle of October. Is it going to still take place in October, and will the Birmingham one come first and then the London one after that?
Yeah, no, great question. So the Birmingham show will happen on the 14th and 15th of October next year, and the London event will happen on the 21st and 22nd of October at London XL.
Right, okay, yeah, I know the XL. I've been out there before to pick up my bib for the London Marathon and World Travel Market, etc. And I think that's, it's relatively easy to get to, and also well served because that new Elizabeth line goes there as well, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And so Snow Sports are week. So what kind of things would you anticipate happening, in between? You mentioned those are the bookends, the two shows themselves, one in Birmingham and one in London. What kind of events would be happening in between? Is this across the UK?
Yeah, definitely. So the whole aim and thinking behind this is to, as I said, galvanise the entire snow sports industry in the UK and having events that happen at snow centres, dry slope, retailers, trade events with brands and press and tour operators and overseas international exhibitors and brands, obviously, like, the sorts of destinations and resorts that come over here to engage with the UK market. But it's really the opportunity to bring all of that together under the banner of the National Snow Week, having these smaller satellite events which engage all different types of audiences across the entirety of the industry.
Yeah, great. And I think, I can see that working for sure. Over by your stand here in the show, you've got a plan of how that London show is going to look. And I see that you've already sold a whole load of places in it. I mean, it's been very hard finding you this morning because you're so busy dealing with people who are booking space there. Definitely. But, will you have kind of partners on board for that as well?
Yes, and we have a heavy hitter mainstream media partner. So the Evening Standard will be partnering with us, but that's not just for London. That's across the entire Snow Week.
Right.
So they will be helping us with Birmingham Snow Week and London Snow Show, partnering with us, helping us amplifying the message and our reach, and really sort of extending our arms and noise that we create around the industry itself.
Okay, excellent. Well, I mean, to me, it sounds great. And I think probably for listeners, who are perhaps out of reach of Birmingham and haven't been able to come along here, the return of a snow show to London is going to be a big deal, because I'm thinking that the last one must have been in 2019, perhaps. So quite a long time ago now. And, evidently there's a huge number of skiers who live around the southeast who would go along to that. Like I say, who might not have been able to make it up here. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. We're a year away, so lots more information, will come out in between times. But, really exciting news, Stephen. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Awesome. Thank you again, Ian. Always a pleasure, and look forward to our next chat.
So that was really interesting, listener. Next year, 2023, in October, you can look forward to National Snow Week. Going to start with the National Snow Show in Birmingham, finish with the London Snow Show, and we'll see what happens in between. What you can guarantee is if you keep listening to the Ski Podcast, then you'll find out all about it here first. Don't forget, listener, that we have 157 other episodes to catch up on. Typically 75 to 100 get listened to every week. You can follow me at Skipedia and the podcast at the Ski Podcast. But for now, I'd like to thank all of my contributors to this particular podcast. And finally, listener, thank you for joining us. And until next time, goodbye.